there, Ignite Kids. Thanks for joining us online. A special welcome if this is the first time that you're watching today. Hey, why don't you tell us that you're here? Comment with your first name in the chat section so that we know you're online.
Ha 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 ha! Hello and welcome to Ignite Kids Online. We're glad that you're here with us today for week 3 of Crazy Weird Bible Stuff. We're learning what God is teaching us through this, and we want you to let us know that you're here. We might try something different this week. If everyone can get a pigeon and train the pigeon to deliver mail, and then write your name on a piece of paper and then put it on the pigeon, and then you can send it. Okay. Right. Okay, bye. Apparently that's not going to work. So what you can do is just comment your first name below in the comments. Let us know you're here, but please remember to still use kind and respectful words, even on the online platforms. We're going to go to this week's photo mashup. Cue the music.
Great job with those impossible photos. Obviously it wasn't that impossible after all. Now I just wanted to remind you guys about using the chat section of Ignite Kids Online. Just remember that even if you're chatting with just you and a friend in Ignite Kids Online, there are lots of other people who are also in the chat, even if they're not saying anything. So think of it like you're talking to a friend, but there's a whole room full of people who are listening. So let's make sure that we always bring our best to the chat in Ignite Kids Online. There are more birthdays coming up this week. So happy birthday to Mishka for tomorrow. Hope you have a fabulous day. And also to Finn, whose birthday is coming up later in the week. Have an awesome birthday, guys. Hey, we had another fun catch up on Zoom this week. If you haven't joined us before, Kinder to Grade 2's your Zoom time is at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays, and Grade 3 to 6's your Zoom time is 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. It's just really fun time of catching up and actually being able to see your friends. So I hope that you can join us in the coming weeks. Your parents or carers will get a text message about this to let them know how to join in. So I'm really hoping I can see you there this coming week. This week's video challenge was also our crazy weird science from last week. These were pretty funny. So let's have a look at the crazy weird body hack science experiments that you did at home. Here they are. Hey, what was the funniest part of doing those crazy, weird body hacks? Did you feel like one arm got shorter? Did anything funny happen at your house when you tried to use one finger to control somebody who was bigger than you? Comment in the chat and let us know what the funniest thing was that happened in your crazy, weird science body hack experiments. And in the meantime, here's Alison with a very different kind of science this week.
Good morning, scientists. Science isn't always about lab coats and glasses. Sometimes science is looking at the weather, and sometimes science is looking at the human body, and sometimes science is sitting in front of a computer working out things. And today we're going to look at sometimes funny things happen between our eyes and our brain, and that's science as well. So let's have a look at something I've prepared for you. Okay. Today we're looking at sometimes we don't know what's going on, or sometimes we can't see the whole picture. Now have a good look at this. I hope you've had a bit of a smile or a laugh. Maybe talk to the person in your household who you're sitting with. What is actually happening in this funny photo? So hopefully you realize it's actually not one person, it's actually two people. One person is standing over with its bottom towards us, while the other one is buried in the sand. But the first time you look at that picture, you actually think it's one person. Okay, our next slide. I hope you're ready. This one is for all the animal lovers out there. Have a little bit of a giggle, and what does that actually look like to you? So hopefully you can see that the picture just matches really well with the cat. But how funny is it that sometimes our brain thinks that that's actually the cat's head that's poking through? Now the next one, I love this one. Let's have a look, and I want you to tell the person in the room with you, what animal do you see? I wonder how many fights are breaking out right now in your lounge rooms, because some people will see the bunny rabbit. Other people will see a duck. Now, whichever one you said, see if you can see the other one. So if you saw a bunny, now maybe turn your head a little bit to the side and see if you can see a duck. And if you saw a duck, see if you can now turn your head the other way and see the bunny rabbit. It's so cool how science works that sometimes our brain might only see one thing when actually it could be either things. Whoa, what about this one? The question for this one to tell the person in the room with you, how many legs do I have? Have a close look. Now we all know elephants only have 4 legs, but the more you stare at this picture, the more you realize, hang on a minute, its legs are moving. It looks like it has 8 legs sometimes. Now this one my family's had a bit of a discussion about. What colour are the strawberries? All around Devonport, I can hear everyone saying, of course they're red. This picture is amazing because, and I think the older kids will appreciate this picture, not one red pixel has been used to create this picture. Not one piece of red, but our eyes tell us the strawberries are red, when in fact they are grey. We had a bit of an argument in my family over this one because some of my boys said it definitely was red. But when we zoomed all the way in and looked at the pixels by themselves, they are actually grey. But isn't science cool that to our brains, they actually look red? This is the last picture we've got for today, but it's going to take a little bit of time. You need to stare at the picture in the middle. So just stare at it. And you need to stare at it for 30 seconds. Tell somebody in your room what might happen when you keep staring at it. If you blink or look away, you have to start again. So have another try. I don't know about you, but the picture disappears before my very eyes. It is quite incredible. But today, that's all we've got for science. I guess the point of today is God is in the background, even when we don't see everything, even when something doesn't look like it should, or when we think we can see something. Sometimes it's not, everything does not appear as it is. And that links us really nicely to today's story. Thanks, guys.
Whew. Thanks, Alison. Be careful trying those at home. You might get a little bit dizzy. Now, this week's crazy, weird Bible story includes a baby. And no, it's not Jesus. Although that is a good story too. Anyway, there's a baby in this week's crazy, weird Bible story. So I thought that it would be fun if we had a little bit of a challenge. So I have asked some Ignite Kids leaders to send me in their baby photos, and you have to see whether or not you can guess who the Ignite Kids leader is by looking at their baby photo. So you're going to see a baby photo on the screen for about 10 seconds. That's not very long. And after 10 seconds, the photo of the person as an adult is then going to come up on the screen. So don't worry about trying to put it in the chat who you think it is, because there won't be enough time for everybody to type that in. Just have a guess at home and see if you can work it out. Now, if you don't know the leaders, that's okay. Just have a bit of a giggle about what they looked like when they were a baby. I hope you enjoy this bit. Are you ready? Go! Did you guess who any of the leaders were by looking at their baby photos? Some of them were pretty cute, weren't they? And your photo challenge for this week is, you guessed it, you have to send in a baby photo of yourself. Guys, can't wait to see these pictures. So that is going to go into next week's photo mashup. So make sure that you send me your baby photos by Tuesday of this week. You can email me, you can put it in Facebook or send it by Messenger, but get your parents to send me that photo. That is going to be a really fun mashup. I wonder who's starring in this week's crazy, weird Bible story. Here's Mika with the story. Let's find out.
Hey everyone. Before we get started with today's crazy, weird Bible story, I have a question for you. If you were playing hide and seek at your house, where would you hide? Type below in the comments and tell us what's the very best hiding spot in your house. Today's Bible story is about baby Moses. Well, actually, it's about his sister Miriam and some unusual things that happened when Moses was very little. At the time when Moses was born, God's people, the Israelites, were slaves in Egypt. They didn't have their own homeland. They weren't free to do whatever they wanted. They had to work very, very hard all the time. The king of Egypt, called the Pharaoh, was afraid that God's people, the Israelites, were going to take over their land. He was worried that there were too many of them, so he wanted to get rid of all the newborn baby boys. Sorry, boys. Moses was born during this time. You can imagine how worried his mum must have been. She didn't want anything bad to happen to her beautiful baby boy. At first, she hid baby Moses in her home. That worked for a little while, but babies aren't very good at being quiet all the time. Moses' mum knew that she needed to come up with a plan to keep baby Moses safe. She needed somewhere to hide him that no one would think to look, somewhere that his big sister Miriam could keep an eye on him. Moses' mum came up with a great idea. She got a baby basket and painted it with tar, which would make it waterproof. That means it would stay nice and dry. She put baby Moses inside the basket and put it on the edge of the river where there were reeds and plants so the basket wouldn't float away. Moses' mum must have trusted that God would look after her baby. Miriam had a really important job to do. She had to stay near the basket and keep a lookout to make sure that baby Moses stayed safe. Miriam was just a kid. She didn't know that she was an important part of God's plan. She was just doing what she was asked to do by her mum. After a while, Pharaoh's daughter, the princess, went down to the river to wash. Isn't it amazing that she was there at exactly the time and exactly the place where baby Moses was? While she was in the water, she saw the baby basket among the reeds in the river. When she looked inside the basket, she saw baby Moses. He was crying and she felt sorry for him. The princess could tell it was one of the Israelite babies. Then Miriam was very brave and went up to the princess to offer her help. "Shall I go and get one of the Israelite women to feed the baby while he's little?" she asked. So Miriam went and got Moses' mum. What a smart move, Miriam. The princess said to Moses' mum, "I will pay you to take care of him until he is old enough to come and live in the palace with me." Here's a reminder of the story. When baby Moses was hiding in a basket in the river, the princess found him. When the princess felt sorry for baby Moses, Miriam knew just the right words to say and went to get Moses' mum. At a time when the Pharaoh was getting rid of all the Israelite baby boys, Pharaoh's daughter, the princess, saved an Israelite baby boy, and Moses' own mum got paid to look after him. Moses grew up in the safest place in Egypt, the palace. In all of this, God was in the background, helping Miriam and looking after Moses. When I think about the story of baby Moses, it makes me think how much faith his mum must have had. Our baby, John, is almost 3 months, the same age that Moses was when his mum put him in a basket and floated him down the river. It was a pretty crazy, weird thing to do. Moses' mum must have really trusted that God would take care of him. And what about his big sister Miriam? She did an awesome job by offering to go and get her mum to help take care of the baby. You might think that everything that happened in today's story was just a coincidence or a bit of good luck, but it was actually God working in the background. You see, God had a plan for Moses when he was an adult, to be a leader of his people. And so God was working in the background to take care of him, even when he was just a baby. And God takes care of us too. Sometimes we forget that God is in charge of everything, big things and little things. He can do all kinds of things to look after us, like the way the princess was in just the right place at the right time to find baby Moses. God is in the background taking care of us too.
Thank you, Mika and the awesome Anderson family for this week's story. That was really cool. And your shout out for this week is God is in the background taking care of us. And that is so true, isn't it? And your video challenge for this week is to do the shout out in some kind of sneaky location. So you need to take video of yourself saying, God is in the background taking care of us in some kind of not too obvious place. So just like we can't always tell when God is working in the background of our lives, this has to have a bit of a sneaky element to it. So maybe you'll be hiding behind a couch and jump out and say the shout out. Or maybe you'll be doing like a bit of a spy video. God is in the background taking care of us. Send me your creative response to that in video. I'll be looking forward to receiving those. You can email me, you can put it in Facebook, you can send it via Messenger, but remember that I need them by the end of Tuesday so that we've got time to put them in a mashup for next week. Hey kids, I hope that you've enjoyed this week's Ignite Kids Online. Now, next week I'm going to be announcing a competition. So, we're going to have 2 different age categories. We're going to have Kinder to Grade 2 and Grade 3 to 6. There are going to be prizes, and I'm going to tell you all about it next week. So make sure you are watching next week's Ignite Kids Online for more information about a competition that we're going to be running. Don't forget about the activities that you can download from our website. Now, Kinder to Grade 2s, you should have already received a craft pack in your letterbox. I hope you guys are excited about that. That'll be lots of fun to make. The instructions are with the craft pack. So I hope you enjoy doing that this week. And Grade 3 to 6s, there is an optical illusion for you to try at home. And I think that's going to be a really cool challenge for you guys to have a go at as well. Remember, the photo challenge is to send me your baby photo, and the video challenge is a sneaky shout out. God is in the background taking care of us. Zoom catch-ups are happening Wednesday nights, 5 o'clock for Kinder to Grade 2s, 7 o'clock for Grade 3 to 6s. I really hope that I get to see you there. I'm missing catching up with you guys in person, so it is so nice to see your photos and your videos and to see you on Zoom. All right, have a great week, guys, and I'll see you next week on Ignite Kids Online.